Hello students, welcome to Ekam Academy. In this video, we are going to discuss an interesting phenomenon and a matter of concern, that is Aral Sea's disappearance in the Central Asian region. So Aral Sea, you might have come across this as part of Central Asian region. So this used to be world's fourth largest inland water body, but now it has completely disappeared in its size. Okay, so we are going to see what are the causes that have resulted in the disappearance of Aral Sea, what are the consequences because of this disappearance, and what can be done to save the Aral Sea. These are the interesting things which we are going to know as part of this video. So let's proceed. So here you can see this is all part of Aral Sea once, but now you can see there is no remain of water in the Aral Sea region. So it has completely dried up. Okay, and you can see here this is the area of Aral Sea previously, but now you can see this is the only extent of water remained in the Aral Sea, and this area completely, which is previously covered with water, completely got dried up in the recent past. Okay, so here we need to know why it is in news. Okay, so there is a European Union's climate change related observatory program is there, so Copernicus. So that program has observed that because of increase in climate change, Aral Sea's size got completely disappeared. Okay, or you can see that it has shrunk almost to 1/4 only. Okay, there is no more presence of water. That is what recently observed according to this European Union's Copernicus climate change observatory program. Then we'll also know what is the details and why the Aral Sea started disappearing, what is the role of climate change, and what are the impacts of this disappearance of Aral Sea, and what can be done to save the Aral Sea, and in the future how to save other water bodies, and we'll also see the conclusion. So this forms part of GS1 and also forms part of GS3, that is environment, the impact of climate change. Okay, so here you should understand why it is in news. Okay, you should know first Aral Sea. Aral Sea is an inland water body. Inland water body means what? It is not open to any ocean or sea. It is completely tightly, or you can say it is completely blocked or bordered by water, like in land itself. That means only bordering with countries itself. There is no large water body with which this Aral Sea is having border, or it is not having any presence of the ocean in that it's nearby. So you can see this an inland water body. Okay, so then what you should know is which are the countries that are bordering Aral Sea. So here Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, these are the two countries which are having border with Aral Sea. And interestingly, Aral Sea used to be the world's fourth largest inland water body previously, but now it has reduced its size. Now it is not anymore fourth largest water inland body. So you can see first largest inland water body in the world is, we have guess a thing, it is Caspian Sea. And you know, Caspian Sea is not a sea at all. It is just a lake because of its huge presence. Okay, it appears like a sea, that is why it is named after a sea. But do remember, Caspian Sea is the largest lake in the world. It is not anymore a sea. It is not a sea at all. Okay, then second we have is Lake Superior. This is the second largest inland water body. Then third we have Lake Victoria. Then previously we used to have this Aral Sea as the fourth largest inland water body, but now this Aral Sea, okay, because of its disappearance, it was Lake Huron, which became the fourth largest inland water body. You have to know the location of these things and which are the countries sharing border with these water bodies. Okay, so this is very important. Already UPSC have asked once a question on Aral Sea and its disappearance. So there may be in the future also they can ask you about these, any of the water bodies and its location, or the like any bordering countries associated with these water bodies. So it is very much important. Here you should know, when we are referring this Aral Sea as an inland water body, normally inland water bodies are also referred with another name, Endorheic. Endorheic means which is inland. It is not having any open to the ocean, okay, or any outlet to the ocean. So this is what you have to use the term, okay, Endorheic lake. Okay, so it has reduced almost less than a quarter of its size, and it used to be the fourth largest inland water body previously. That is what the basic thing you should know. Then what are the details here? So what happened in the recent times is, as I told you, Aral Sea is having border with Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. Previously, these two countries formed part of Soviet Union. Before the disintegration of Soviet Union in 1990s, these are part of Soviet Union. At that time, Soviet Union, to feed different different areas with irrigation on to increase agriculture, crops, productivity and all. So they have diverted two major rivers which are providing water to this Aral Sea, they got diverted and the water supply, or you can say water basin of these two rivers got diverted, so that they are not anymore providing water to this Aral Sea. When there is no water drained into this sea, then how the water will be generated in the sea, right? That is why there is no water outlet. And this region of Central Asia, it is in the arid region or semi-arid region, okay? So there is no much precipitation also received, so that this water level in the Aral Sea will get filled up. So because of these two reasons, drying up of the thing because of intense climate change in the recent times, and second reasons is because of human induced reasons like, or human engineering techniques like diversion of water for irrigation or more intensive agriculture practices without any sustainable mechanism in it. So because of all these reasons, Aral Sea slowly started disappearing, or it reduced or shrinked in its extent because of these reasons, okay? This is what they're here. We'll understand these reasons in detail. So first thing is, you have to know the location of Aral Sea. You can see here is the Aral Sea. It is bordering between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. You know, Kazakhstan is the largest Central Asian country. Okay, very interestingly, we have different things, and India is importing uranium from Kazakhstan. And you know, recently they have changed this capital to Astana. Okay, Nur Astana. They have renamed it. Previously, there is another capital. They have renamed it as Nur Astana in the remembrance of their president of Kazakhstan. Okay, so beloved president of Kazakhstan. So on his name, they changed this capital as Astana. This is what you have to keep in mind. Then this is the Uzbekistan we have. You know, Uzbekistan has a capital Tashkent, and when you remember about Tashkent, you need to remember Tashkent Agreement where Lal Bahadur Shastri signed, okay, and he passed away also in the Tashkent city itself. So this is what you have to remember. So if you see Uzbekistan, it is a landlocked, and you have here other countries like Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, and also this side you have China, and here you have Kyrgyzstan, okay. So we have Turkmenistan. So this Uzbekistan is a inland, or you can say landlocked country. So here you have on the other hand Caspian Sea, okay. So this is what we refer as the world's largest inland water body. So these 5 Central Asian countries are once part of Soviet Union, and you know, India has good relations in the recent times with the Central Asian region because of their good natural resources, and also as we are trying to balance this relation with to counter China also, we are increasing our diplomatic means through this Central Asian region. So this is very important for its location also. Then so you should know where is this Aral Sea located. Fourth largest saltwater lake of Central Asia, and you can see bordering countries are only 2 countries, Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, that we have seen just now. And here you can see how did it dried up, okay. So 2 main rivers. First thing is river diversion happened, okay. So you know, most of the times rivers, whenever there is excess water in the river, okay, so those excess water will be drained into the ocean or sea. That is what naturally happens. But in case, you know, because of increasing human needs and human demands, so we are trying to divert this river water by constructing artificial dams and reservoirs, so that we wanted to store the water whenever we don't have access to the rainwater, okay. In that way, we started constructing different irrigation projects, hydroelectric projects to generate electricity out of the water, and in this way we tried to alter the natural flow of the river, okay. In this way, the same thing happened. So in 1960s, when there is Soviet Union, so these 2 countries, Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, are part of Soviet Union. So they diverted this water, 2 rivers. You have Sir Darya and Amu Darya, okay. So as if you have remembered, Amu Darya river is one of the river which is originating in Hindu Kush mountain range and it is considered as one of the 10 largest rivers in Asia. So these 2 rivers, previously they used to drain their water, excess water into Aral Sea, but because of this increase in demands, they started diverting these 2 rivers, and because this region of Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan is arid. Arid means dry region, okay. So they don't have abundant rainfall to meet their needs. That is why they started diverting these 2 river waters, so that water inflow to the Aral Sea got reduced. So because of this, what happened? Slowly there is a reduced water supply to the sea. So slowly, as water supply got reduced, sea also started drying up, and you can see rapid decline in water level is what observed. So exposure started. So when there is low water level, so land also will become very hard and it is losing its fertility. So in this way, all the area easily got dried up. So next you can see formation of multiple basins. So as the river got shrinked in area, it got divided into multiple basins, like northern basin. For geographical reasons, we try to divide this into, for our understanding, based on northern, eastern, southern and western margins. In this way, if you see, there is a complete drying up of eastern basin observed in 2014. So in 2014, if you see, if this is a sea in the eastern side, okay, this basin got completely dried up. There is no much water. That is what we have seen in the first image also. So leaving behind all the salt desert. So when there is no more water and excess evaporation happens, salt remains will be there. In that way, it has become saline area. Then you can say shrinkage in the western basin also observed. There is some water presence in the western basin, but still it is also decreasing in its water level. Then you can see in this way, this is in 1960, in the presence of Aral Sea. You can see slowly it started. The eastern side, you can see this is shrinking slowly, and we can observe in 2009, you can see this total eastern area got completely dried up, and only there is a presence of some water in the western margin. So in this way, there is completely change that happened in the Aral Sea and its ecosystem. Then you can see here, how does climate change make an impact in this? So you can see increased evaporation rate. Climate change means, you know, when there is a rise in global temperatures. So when there is a rise in global temperatures, more and more evaporation happen, and because of that evaporation, salt content also will be increased. So when the salt content is natural, above the natural levels, then you can say more saline land, okay, or you can say soil will become desertified, or degradation will happen in the soil. So that is why increased evaporation rate is also one of the mechanism that is resulting out of this climate change. And you can see second thing is reduced precipitation and runoff, as this is already in the arid region, and the reduced precipitation and runoff is also very less, as I told you, because two rivers which used to drain into Aral Sea, they got diverted because of different irrigation projects and agriculture purposes. So because of reduced runoff also, this sea has decreased its presence. Then you can see there is a temperature rise in the Central Asian region, not only in Central Asian region, so in other parts also we are experiencing. Now if you see in India also, we didn't have this winter any fall, okay. So winter, even in Himalayas, if you have remembered, we have seen there is no snow observed during December and January in Kashmir and other famous tourist spots like Gulmarg. So what is the reason is climate change is increasing. That means the average temperatures in the world are increasing day by day. If you have observed, compared to 1900s and 2000s, between this period, almost there is 1.5 degrees centigrade increase in the temperatures only in the Central Asian region. When there is increase in temperatures, this has altered the ecosystem of this Aral Sea. And glacial retreat, you know, most of the rivers, as I told you, one of the river that is feeding this Aral Sea, that is Ammu Darya river, that is based in Hindu Kush Himalayan system. So there where we have the glaciers, those glaciers are feeding these rivers, so by melting. So but what happened is, when the glacial presence itself is getting reduced, or you can say when the global warming is there, glacial melting will happen. So when these glaciers are melting and adding water, and after some time we don't find that much of glacier presence. So that is what happening, and because of decreased presence of these glaciers, so there is reduced water that is getting into these river bodies, which are carrying this water ultimately to the sea bodies. In this way also, the water from the Aral Sea got reduced. Then you can see water availability challenges also. So as the humans are facing the issues of climate change, or the vagaries of climate change on one side, so because of reduced rainfall and unexpected climate phenomenon, so because of this also water availability reduced, and all these are the factors which have reduced the presence of Aral Sea. Then if you see what are the impacts, so if the Aral Sea got disappeared, what will be the impact or consequences? If you can see, loss of fisheries and livelihood. You know, when there is a sea or a large water lake, normally people living in that region will live on fishing or other coastal things, okay. So they can live on other marine resources and by selling the fishing and all. So in this way, there is a loss of fisheries and livelihood. Second reason is land degradation and desertification, okay. So the land also, as I told you, increase in salinity levels has made this land more degraded and desertified. So desertification is nothing but expansion of desert type of land. So you know, there won't desert, the primary classification to name anything as a desert is less precipitation. So because of this land, when there is no rainfall, proper rainfall, or there is no discharge of river water into the sea, it is becoming degraded and desertified. Then water scarcity and pollution. As I told you, water scarcity means less water is available now into the sea, and pollution is also one reason what is causing this disappearance of Aral Sea. Then health problems, when there is pollution of water body, okay, or more salt content is there in the water body, which is traditionally used by the local communities, then there can be different different health problems out of which they suffer. Then biodiversity loss. So which are all the marine organisms based in Aral Sea, they also suffer this biodiversity loss because they cannot survive anymore because of lack of water in the ecosystem. Then water related conflicts also. So you know, this is also one reason where in the future, okay, what like world wars like things can happen because of shortage of water. That is what observed by different reports and organizations. So in the future, wars may take place because of water and food also, if we don't have any concern. Then global environmental impact. So this may cause some impact on the environment also, because you know, normally a sea will have an important role because it provides evaporation. If there is evaporation, then condensation happens, and because of condensation we have precipitation. So if there is no sea in that region, it will also result in reduced rainfall or reduced precipitation. So these are all the impacts of climate change and impacts of Aral Sea disappearance because of various factors. Then what should be done? So what can be done to save this Aral Sea? So improving water management means at least from now onwards they have to discharge water again back into the Aral Sea. Previous diversions, okay, so even in India, if you have remembered, we are thinking of interlinking of many rivers, okay. So if you have remembered Ken Betwa, we have seen that is already proposed by government of India, and in the recent in Rajasthan also they tried to link two main rivers to supply water to the drought prone areas. In this way we have so many projects on the table. So if you are not thinking in the environmental way, or if you are not taking these concerns into the picture, then we may also face some problems in the future. So that is what every country and every government has to look into. Then promoting sustainable agriculture. So sustainable agriculture means we need to focus on how to conserve the water also. We should not only exploit water, but how to recharge water, how to conserve the water table also have to be looked into. And investing in alternative livelihoods, not only in excess drawing of water from the water body or the river. We should also try to replenish, and we should also focus on other livelihoods, not only intense agriculture practices, but we should also focus on other livelihoods. Then restoring the ecosystems. How to restore? Okay, as I told you, natural discharge should not be changed. Okay, so if natural recharge or natural flow of the river is altered, then there can be problems associated with it. Then we should involve international cooperation also in this. So whatever the best practices observed across the world are there in restoring the river ecosystems or the sea ecosystems, those can be adopted here, and we can save this Aral Sea from extinction. Then mitigating climate change. So what are the impacts like glacial retreat or glacial melting is happening so intense? No, those things have to be stopped by mitigating the climate change. Means we have to cool off the global temperatures which are rising. So we should try to focus on afforestation, and we should try to avoid the practices which are resulting in the climate change practices. Then a public awareness and education. This is the ultimate thing which have to be looked into. So if this is taken care, then almost all these things can be achieved. So now what is the way forward? You can see comprehensive and integrated approach should be taken up so that the long-term well-being of the community and the region and the world as a whole can be taken into consideration. So now it is the time for practice question. Here you can see the prelims question: which of the following have shrunk immensely or dried up in the recent past due to human activities? Is it Aral Sea, is it Black Sea, or Lake Baikal? So you have to choose the correct or combination or correct option from the above given statements. And this is a mains question for practice. You can see, while climate change affects everyone, some communities and countries are disproportionately impacted. How to ensure a just and equitable transition to a low carbon future, addressing human historical inequalities and empowering vulnerable populations to adopt. So this is a practice question for mains. As we have come to end of this video, we have discussed what is the reason for causing of disappearance of water in Aral Sea, what are the climate change impacts, and what are the consequences of this disappearance of Aral Sea, what has to be done to conserve and to restore this Aral Sea in its normal state. All these are the things which we have discussed as part of this video. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.